It's been a long time since I've done a video on Brazilian Blowout, and there's a lot of crap going on out there on the internet, and so I just feel like this is an opportune time to talk about it. This is straight talk about Brazilian Blowout. So if you don't already know me, my name is Rich Rose. I've been selling Brazilian Blowout since 2010 when it launched in our area, and since that time, there's been rumors of bad chemical in the product, like formaldehyde, and there's all kinds of stuff being written up on the internet, scare tactics and everything. And back then it really blew up. As soon as we got it, it seemed like we launched it, it was like the hottest selling thing that we've ever sold as a company, which was very short, because I think we started selling products in Florida in 2010. But anyway, it was huge out the gate. Everybody wanted it. It was the hottest thing. There was nothing else on the market like it, because people that suffered from frizz or whatever, there really wasn't at the time any real good solution except for keratins or the Japanese straightenings. The problem with those is they took too long to do, and you had that waiting time where you get it and then you can't clip your hair, you can't swim, you can't do this and do that, and then you had to go back to the salon to get checked. So this was the routine back in the day on that. So when Brazilian Blowout came out, it was an amazing revolution. You can now do a smoothing treatment that lasts 12 weeks or longer, and basically gives you maintenance-free hair. So once the customer left the salon, the hairdresser didn't have to worry about the customer, and the customer did not have to worry about any adverse reactions happening to them. So this is what made Brazilian Blowout so famous. It was, no downtime, smoothing their hair, and gave them hair of a lifetime, like hair they never had before. And so here we are in 2024, and it's, any brand that lasts that long for, I've been doing this for over 30 years now, and I've never had a brand that really stayed the course for that long of a time. Normally they go through their cycles, and Brazilian, to be honest, is not as big as it was when it first launched, but it's still one of our top selling brands. I think it's at the top. And even though there's so many alternatives today to smoothing the hair, like we've got so many styling products that do the job, but unfortunately they don't last as long, and they do require some work. Like most of them require work, to get that smoothing hair, that anti-frizz property. But the thing about doing a Brazilian Blowout is that it's going to last you 12 weeks or longer. So I would say, there's still a very much of a need for Brazilian Blowouts alongside of the other styling products that are on the market. So if you've been seeing stuff on the internet about, that there's, they're going to take it off the market and everything, well, we've been reassured by Brazilian Blowout that that's not the case. And actually their name was just put in this case because according to them, if I remember correctly, I may mess this up, but it was more about the relaxers, like these sodium hydroxide relaxers, and they kind of grouped all of these brands together. But they assure us that this is not the case. It's not being taken off the market. And what I would say to everybody else, if you're a customer of Brazilian, or if you haven't had a Brazilian Blowout, go get one. It is life-changing, especially if you have unruly frizzy hair. And even if you just have mild frizzy hair, it's gonna just make your life so much easier. You'll spend an hour and a half at the salon to get this treatment done, or less, and then for the next 12 weeks or longer, you're going to be having hair that you just don't have to work so hard to make look good every day. So it's going to give you smooth, shiny, frizz-free or anti-frizz hair, and believe me, you will love it. And if you're and as far as the whole formaldehyde thing goes, this product has methylene glycol in it, which if you heat it, it could turn into some formaldehyde gas. But years ago, when all of this was such a big deal, the authorities actually deemed Brazilian Blowout safe as long as it's used as directed. And that's the problem that we have a lot today. There's a lot of people out there that are not following the directions, as prescribed by Brazilian professional. And so if you don't follow the directions, if you don't do it according to the way it's supposed to be done, then it's no fault of theirs if you didn't follow the directions of the system. And I know there's a lot of people that say, oh, you don't need this, you don't need that. Well, you know, you run the risk of, you know, of just not having the best results. Or, you know, if you let somebody go home with a chemical in their hair, shame on you for doing that, because now you're putting the risk back on you. You know, before, when you did it according to the directions, everything was perfectly fine. They've already proven that's the way it should work. It's safe. It's safe for you as the hairdresser and the customer, as long as you follow the directions. You know, and so the customers don't have any issues. I mean, you're not going to be exposed to any kind of chemical for very long. It's really no different than any chemicals you're exposed to for hair color or bleach or whatever. You know, and just because you can't smell something doesn't mean it's not there. So just keep that in mind. Like the oxygen we breathe, we don't see it, we can't feel it, we know we need it, and we know it's there, so they tell us. So just keep that in mind. And then for hairdressers, you know, just follow the directions. Just do it as prescribed and use your common sense. You know, the biggest problem that people have is they're applying too much, and then they're putting that dryer right on the hair when they're blow drying at high heat and high airflow. And the problem with that is when you do that, so much heat is hitting that chemical that you've applied. And if you over applied it, it's even more so. It's actually vaporizing that product. It's heating it up like you're putting it in a pot of water, like you're boiling it, and it's just vaporizing in the air. And so what happens is you smoke up the salon, it irritates people's lungs, and then the other thing is it's not going to actually be as good as a regular Brazilian blowout, because you've actually vaporized so much product that when you seal it with a flat iron, not enough product is there. So you got to keep in mind, you got to have all of that hair sealed in order to keep that humidity out. So you remember Brazilian blowout, what really makes it so good is that it's putting an invisible shield around each hair shaft. And it's not penetrating and altering the structure of the hair, but it's sealing the hair. So if you don't apply it right, or if you dry it improperly, or if you just don't follow the directions, if you don't prep the hair properly, you're going to have all these gaps in the hair. And what happens is that humidity is just, you know, the hair is just trying to get that humidity, that moisture in the air. So it's going to cause frizz. So just do it right. And if you're a customer, be sure to find a hairdresser that knows how to do it properly. Just because they are so-called certified doesn't mean they are still doing it the way they should be doing it. I found over the years, especially this many years, is that people get into bad habits, and they just kind of, you know, they all of a sudden have become the expert and decide that they know better than Brazilian professional on how to do this service. So anybody that I've seen that follows directions, and most importantly, make sure the customer goes home with a proper aftercare product, because not all these so-called sulfate-free shampoos and conditioners and whatnot, they weren't really designed for Brazilian blowouts or keratins. So you might be able to use and get by with one of those, but I'm just saying there's certain ingredients that are in those products that help keep the Brazilian blowout looking good up to 12 weeks until they come back in. So it's shampoo and conditioner, anti-frizz shampoo and conditioner, or if you don't want the conditioner, you can use the mask, which is still a great product that used to be part of the service. And then really, most importantly, is the ionic bonding spray. So this is something that they changed, I forget how many years ago, but instead of the mask, they've determined that the ionic bonding spray, and make sure you shake it up real good before you use it, and you're going to use it once a week after the initial service. And you just want to spray it in liberally, comb it through, and then blow dry with it. And when you blow dry, it's actually going to leave that hair looking like the day that you're at the salon. So it's so important, and it protects the hair at the same time. And also remember, if you're going to the beach or you're doing anything out in the elements, smoothing serum is something that a lot of people have forgotten, but it's kind of like a protective barrier cream on the hair. So I would suggest keeping a tube of that, especially pools. Like before you get into the pool, put that on the hair just to protect all of that, or keep that chlorine from attaching inside the hair, especially if you're blonde. That's just a no-no, going in a pool with blonde hair without pre-treating it first, or else you're just going to pay the consequences and have real brassy hair, and you're going to take it, go back to your hairdresser and say, hey, my color is not looking good. Well, it's not the color, you know, it's color on top of the color, or what's, you know, the minerals are changing the look of the hair. So I don't want to keep going on with this video, but I just want to say that even though we have a lot of alternatives to Brazilian Blowout, you really should consider Brazilian Blowout. It's still, in my opinion, as far as what I've seen on the market, and we have other alternatives that we sell now as well, I still think it's the most effective, the quickest, the most proven. Let's put it that way. They've been doing this longer than most other brands. Now, there were some brands before them, but basically Brazilian Blowout supplanted them and became the #1 smoothing treatment. So hopefully they will continue to be at the top if they continue to do the right things. And you know, they need to innovate as well and come up with new things that actually work. And I'm hoping maybe they'll see this message and get the idea. We need real practical solutions out there. And so when you can make more money for the hairdresser, or you know, give the client more products that actually help solve a problem in their hair, then it's a win-win for everybody. So and also for the hairdresser, make sure that it's something that they can offer that doesn't require much more time. I mean, time is the problem with hairdressers today. They just don't have a lot of time. So if you're already a heavily booked hairdresser, and you have a customer that comes in and they need a treatment of some kind, well, that just kind of screwed up your day. And you know, a lot of people now are independent booth runners or business people, and so they just have themselves in the salon. So they don't have anybody to help do these treatments. So I don't want to go on any longer. I've already gone on over 12 minutes. So. But this is just something that I just wanted to put out unedited. I think it's important for people to know that as long as they're in a salon that is doing the Brazilian Blowout according to the directions, and you know, I wouldn't even ask them about being certified, because that's so easy anymore. I mean, there's no real test for actually somebody watching them to see if they've done it correctly. The ones that do a lot of Brazilian blowouts that aren't doing it at like cut rate, you don't want to go to somebody that's offering the cheapest Brazilian blowout. Let me just tell you that right now. The reason why is they need to make money, and time is money. And Brazilian, even though it's an hour and a half, it still takes product and takes time. And you want somebody that's not going to take shortcuts. So if somebody's doing a Brazilian blowout in an hour, I would be suspect, because they're not doing everything the way it should be. And you want to make sure that it's right around an hour and a half, and it could be even longer, especially if you have long, thick, coarse hair. You know, the longer, thicker hair, or hair that's real wiry or real curly, and they're trying to make it smooth, it's going to take more than an hour and a half, probably. It most definitely will. So hope this helps, but thanks for watching. And if you like more videos like this, please subscribe. Please let me know what you think, and if you have any other ideas on what you would like to see. And you know, I want to make stuff that's going to be practical and helpful to you, whether you are a customer or you are a stylist. I've been doing this over 30 years now, and I pretty much know when or how to spot a really hot product, and I know what it takes to really get one out there to be very successful. So if you want to learn more, subscribe and follow me, and I hope to see you soon. Thanks for watching.